Hi there, welcome. Welcome to the Philanthropic Planner Show. It's been a while since I have seen you and visited with you, but it's tax season. Snow is melting, I promise. Spring is right around the corner, and these things are happening left and right. It's a busy, busy time. Now, I just rode in on my bike, and I'm getting ready for a big event this coming Saturday, and I thought, maybe I should share that with you. So I'll share the title of our program, Spinning Part 2. I think a couple years ago I shared with you that I got volunteered by family to participate in the spinning program Bike for the Battle at the Granby YMCA for cancer survivors. And sure enough, they volunteered me again. I'm on this coming Saturday, so I thought I'd work out on my bike a little bit so that I don't make a fool of myself. And I just rode in and showed Karen my workout bike here. And the title of the program, Spinning Part 2, it's like riding a bike. You know, you don't forget riding a bike. And that old adage is, gee, I haven't rode a bike in a long time. You don't forget how to ride a bike, right? Bikes are everywhere. We've got mountain bikes, dirt bikes. We've got all of these carbon frame bikes. You can buy a bike like this for a couple dollars at a garage sale, I suppose. And then these high-tech jobs are up like $8,000 or $10,000. I can't believe that you're buying a bike today and almost 2 or 3 or 4 times, no, actually more than that, than what I paid for my first car. And we're paying that for a bike today. So the subtitle is, who is Billy Starr? So we're going to talk about spinning. We're going to talk about cancer survivors. We're going to talk about how you and I can support philanthropy of any kind. So let's get started. For those of you who are new on the Philanthropic Planner program, it's designed for you and me as philanthropists, or you and me as I would like to do more, and I would like to be a philanthropist, maybe on a small scale. You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to be a philanthropist. There are many ways of giving back to the community. Volunteering is a big thing. A big way of giving back. It's valuable. Your time is valuable. So volunteering is a viable way of contributing and giving back to the community. This program designed also for planners. Where, you know, it always amazes me that I have friends and colleagues in related businesses and so on that say, hey, I checked you out on your program just to see if you were telling the truth, Bob. Well, we try, but we want to share the meaningful aspect, the beneficial aspect of philanthropy in the local community. There are a lot of ways of giving. There are a lot of charities that need your dollars, and these smaller charities are competing for the same dollars, so it's a very tough environment to pay for staff, perhaps, pay for energy and rent, and still promote the mission of the charity. We've had a number of local charities as guests on our program over the last 9 years, and they shared, I'm sure you observed that they need your dollars. So we try to simplify the complexity of giving. We don't talk about legalese necessarily, but we do want to share with you what your neighbors, what other people are doing, how they can increase their giving annually, the techniques and strategies. Sometimes it's for tax reasons, but you have to have a philanthropic intent, and we always assume that that's there. People want to give more if they can. They want to give more if they know how. So sharing these ideas shows them how. If I can, connotes a concern of nest egg. Will I outlive my money? Do I have the capacity? We talk about capacity in being able financially to gift periodically and not jeopardize the nest egg. So all aspects of that are the reasons that we kind of put up with this craziness of me wearing silly hats and talking about the boring subject of philanthropy. So let's go back to spinning up in Granby at the YMCA. Spinning is, I think they have 16, 18, 20 some bikes, stationary bikes, not like my cruiser here, but you spin and they often have teams where you have maybe 4 people, 1 for each hour over the time slot from 8 to noon. And each of the teams contributes, I believe it's $125 per team member. So there's $500 gifted to this Live Strong program of cancer survivors. And I think the last time I saw they were successful when I did this the last time, raising something like $15,000. That's a lot of money in a short period of time, and it is, you know, it's socializing, it's having fun with other people, and identifying and having this spirit of celebrating survivors of cancer. There's a lot being done in various ways of raising money for things like cancer. When we look at walkathons, running, bikeathons, as we're talking about, there's a lot of money raised. The American Cancer Society, for example, Run for Life, I think last year they raised all over the country these Run for Life programs. I think they're 24-hour programs, and they raised over $330 million in hundreds and hundreds of sites around the country. When we think about, and I'll talk about this later, but let me interject that when we look at that 331 million and the thousands of people that participated, it ends up being, according to American Cancer Society, about $100 per participant. So you do the math. But how about these walkathons and running events and so on? I mentioned American Cancer Society. American Heart last year raised $111 million with their Heart Walk. March of Dimes, March for Babies, $97 million. Again, hundreds of sites around the country. Susan G. Komen, $95 million. Race for the Cure. The National MS Society, $83 million in a bike program. Again, hundreds. Juvenile diabetes, $68 million in a one walk program. Alzheimer's, we've talked about this in a previous program. Walk to End Alzheimer's, $68 million. Leukemia, $60 million. A lot of money through walkathons and running and so on. So biking. You know, I don't know that you noticed, but the Chronicle of Philanthropy has changed their format. They've gotten a better design, the exterior and the content and how the presentations and stories and so on, articles, completely different. And I'm going to send a note to the Chronicle and say, congratulations. I think it's a much improved edition, their first edition under this. But as I was looking at this, I see at the bottom Billy Starr, and I seem to remember the name Billy Starr. Who's Billy Starr? So the subheading on our program is, seriously, who is Billy Starr? Well, the reason I recognized it was that Billy Starr is the one that's that started the PMC, Pan Mass Challenge, which is a bike program. And I didn't realize that PMC is as old as it is, but Billy Starr started this back in 1980. Young guy, 29 years old, and avid biker, obviously, but he got together some friends and they raised some money. And a few years later, Billy was at the bedside of his mother dying of cancer, and he got more enthusiastic and more committed to this mass challenge. Well, over the years, it has just grown and snowballed into a bigger program, a bigger and huge. It is the largest single site or event, single event participation in fundraising by something athletic like biking. This last year, they had over 5,500 bikers participate in this program and 3,500 volunteers. Thousands and thousands and thousands of spectators line the routes. Today, there are over a dozen different routes that the bikers can, the participants can choose, and the big dog is going from Sturbridge, Mass, to Provincetown, which is about 190 miles. That's over a 2-day program. Billy Starr is really noted to be the guru of this type of program for a number of reasons. One, his commitment is certainly obvious. But here about 8 years ago, Billy really got to the concept of how do we attract not just more participants, but more money. Last year they raised $41 million with these 5,500 bikers. They expect to do $45 million this year. August 1st, I believe, is the event date. But when we look at numbers of participants, like we did with the American Cancer Society and Run for Life, but 5,500 raising $41 million, that comes out to about $7,000 per participant. Well, Billy, he is a tough, hard-nosed guy, and he wants to raise money. That's his mission. And he's tough with participants. Of these 55 to 6,000 riders, 75% of them, 3/4 of them, have participated in previous years. So this is a kind of a reunion each year of bikers, enthusiasts that obviously like biking, but they want to raise money for Dana-Farber cancer. And this thing I keep mentioning, eight years ago, Billy came out and said, wait a minute, 100% of the donation, 100% of the money raised goes to Dana-Farber cancer. 100%. Well, what he did was he gets sponsors, individuals, corporations, and so on, to sponsor the administrative, the overhead, the cost of presenting this program. And that's how they're enabled to say 100%. Well, after this came out and it started to get around, it created a greater impact. And since that time, because of their success on this, Billy has consulted with other cities that are doing the same thing. And biking is growing in this country. We look at different cities. Columbus, for example, the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Institute out there, they started Pelotonia biking event, and in 6 years time, this last year they raised $21 million. So it's really grown over the last 5 or 6 years, and they attribute their success to Billy Starr's influence there. But in addition to that, Miami, Tampa, Seattle, St. Louis, Toronto, Canada, you've got a number of cities that are known for being pro-biking. And this is a natural fundraising event to take advantage of that enthusiasm in biking. But Billy's hard-nosed. He says if you participate, you have to sign a commitment. And of these 12 or 13 routes, you can choose your route. And the lowest participation mark, the commitment, is $1,000. And if you do the 2-day event, I think last year was $5,200 or $5,400. Remember, the average is about $7,000. But if you commit to, let's say, $1,000, and as he says, you break a leg 2 weeks after your commitment, we're going to bill your credit card. I mean, this is a serious guy. He makes no apologies to this. He says, we're in here to raise money and your commitment. Well, what these bikers do, obviously, is they're paying for their own cost. They even pay for their jerseys. By the way, how do you like this? Huh? Pretty good. They pay for their jerseys. They pay for their food, and that's keeps the cost 100% of the dollars there. But Billy says, if you committed, we're going to bill your credit card. Well, they have one participant this last year that raised $1 million. So each of these riders goes to their friends, their neighbors, their business colleagues, and so on to raise and say, can you contribute to the cause, to Dana-Farber and the PMC challenge, and raise money. As an aside, we've got a couple of clients that have been doing this for years. A client, Frank, I won't mention his last name, I haven't asked his permission, but I asked Frank here a few months ago if he'd be on the program before the challenge in June or July. But Frank has been doing this for a number of years, and because he found out that my wife Norma is a cancer survivor, he has Norma's name on the back of his jersey every year, and he's got, 20, 30, 40 different names of people that he's riding for. So I heard that Frank this last year has been successful over participating for years, over $100,000. Well, the gentleman that I mentioned has raised $11 million total over the years. Last year did $1 million just in 1 year. So this is growing, and I think the PMC challenge this year will reach a total of $500 million that they've raised, almost $500 million. So I'd say Billy Starr over the years has been very successful, and other people are modeling their programs and mimicking as much as they can Billy's approach to raising money. Interesting look at how innovation, how commitment, how strong some of these programs are, and you've got to take a step back and say, wow, that's a lot of money raised. Put that aside for a second. When we talk about charities, when we talk about everybody competing, these charities competing for the same dollar, part of this program that we produce every month is to help you and others like you find ways of gifting to these charities. And that can be from any different strategy that you can imagine. We talk about charitable gift annuities. And I've toyed with the idea of just having a program on charitable gift annuities and how we can use those better. I don't like annuities in general, but if used properly for the right reason and suitability issues are addressed, it can be a great way of increasing the power, leveraging your dollar, being more efficient in your tax impact and avoiding capital gains perhaps by gifting an asset rather than cash. So when we talk about raising money for charities, there are different strategies that we can use. I had a lady, happens to be a client now, she wasn't at the time, but a lady asked us after a program a year or two ago, saying that she had a commercial annuity and how can she utilize that annuity. Great accumulation tool, terrible payout, perhaps, given the situation, and not such a good asset to die with, okay? So there are a lot of factors there, but let me quickly share with you why I bring that up, that she had a $10,000 mutual fund that she paid at $10,000, and it is now $19,400. And she was hit by capital gains. She had to pay added tax the year before last, and wasn't too happy about paying that. But the dividend on this mutual fund is only paying about 1.4, 1.6, or something like that. So out of this mutual fund, she's getting about $310, $320. Well, by looking at different strategies, we've increased that to $1,100. On top of that, she gets a sizable tax deduction. She avoided capital gains. She's got lifetime income, and the comparable yield on this thing, if I had a tax-free bond, the comparable yield would be over 9%. So the efficiency of this is quite great. Her intent, a part of the equation, was how can she gift more? And she does have the ability by using this strategy. A couple of other things that I want to touch on in this program. We've talked in the past about be careful with scams, be careful with your identity, be careful of hacking, protect your ID and so on. And because we're in tax season, because we're getting all these crazy phone calls of it rings once and there's nobody there. They leave a telephone number, they want you to call back. They're threatening that IRS is going to foreclose, you've got to send money. Because you didn't appear to court after we're going to serve a warrant. Your nephew is in a hotel in some foreign country, please send money. There are a lot of scams out there. And the reason I mention that in a program like Philanthropic Planner, I'm selfishly looking at the waste and the scam for reasons of if this lady in Pennsylvania hadn't been scammed for $76,000, $76,000, phone call that started in Costa Rica, demanding a check, Western Union check to go to Costa Rica. This woman was convinced that she had won Commerce Clearinghouse Lotto. Just be careful, and it happens with older people. And if you're a power of attorney for an elder parent or something like that, check your parents' accounts periodically to see if there's fraud or scam happening there. Minimize that screen for a second, and let's move on to some news that we just saw here recently. We have Sweetbriar College, women's college down in Western Virginia, is closing in May of this year. Now here's an institution that's been around 114 years, women's college, and alumni, friends are saying, what happened? Well, if we look back into the 60s, late 60s, there were 244 female-only colleges. Now there are only 40. So things like Sweetbriar are an example. But set that aside for a second. Small liberal arts schools, because of rising tuition, there are people that are opting not to go to some of these schools. So if they're not heavily endowed, I'm told, I'm led to believe in some publications that there will be 5 colleges close again this year, and 5 or 6 or 7 next year, and maybe 8 or 10 the following year. Institutions that have been around a long time that are closing. So when we look at your college, think about writing out a check to that institution. And if you're not so inclined, don't do that. But if we look at charities that need this influx of revenue to pay their overhead, we need to find out ways of doing that. While I'm at it, let's not forget Simsbury Community TV. If you're so inclined, get out that checkbook and send $25, $50, or $100 to the local studio here. It's amazing to me, with 3 stations and the programs that we provide to the local community, the asset that is in our local community, providing information on local government, education, programming that you won't see in other places. So keep that in mind. Now, if you want to join PMC and ride for Dana-Farber, go ahead. If you want to use my bike here, you're welcome to do that. This helmet I probably will never wear again in my life. This jersey is not mine. I'm on loan, and I have to thank the people that went to their closet and gave me the helmet and the jersey. But keep in mind now, philanthropy is important. It's important globally, domestically, regional, statewide, and your local community. So thanks for tuning in. See you next time, and you too can be a philanthropist. See you again. Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.